Hey guys, are you there?
Hello.
Where are you at?
We're coming.
We're coming. Where are you? Oh, hey! How you doing?
Do you remember where we are? We're in the jungles of India. Can you hear the noises?
Oh,
Is that a tiger in the background?
that sounded like a tiger, maybe.
Oh my.
Wow. We had a great time with you guys yesterday, and we're so excited about what is going to happen today, too, with Ringu and Batu and Mr. Grub Sahib. There's so many cool things going on right now.
Yes.
But first, if you remember yesterday, we talked about prizes. So, Miss Jen, how do they get in the prize basket?
Okay, so there's two ways that you get your name in the prize basket. What you have to do is you can answer our 3 questions. Make sure that you put your name in the comments because you might be on your grandma's Facebook or your auntie's or your mom or dad's. But put your name and your answers in, and then we will put your name in the basket. The other way you can get your name in the basket is by participating in the picture challenge.
Right.
So yesterday's picture challenge was to put a picture with yourself with a hat that you would like to wear in the jungle. You'll have to wait till the end today, though, to find out what today's picture challenge is. Make sure you get those in before our next live event.
Which will be tomorrow at noon.
At noon,
right?
yeah.
So we're going to be here at noon every day this week. All right?
And in case you don't remember who we are, who are you?
I am...
You're my husband.
Yes.
But you have a name.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Miss Jen.
Yep. And we're here, and we just love to tell stories, and we especially love stories that remind us how that we don't have to be afraid because Jesus loves us.
He loves us very much.
Right. So, should we get started with our story?
I think so.
Okay.
You guys ready?
So, do you guys remember that yesterday we left Ringu? He had done something really cool.
Really cool.
Really cool. He had won the race.
Yes!
He and his team of bullocks, which remember we said were kind of like cows, but a little bit different, had won a race yesterday. And he was the youngest competitor. He was the youngest one there. He was only like 11 years old. But he was also having a bad time.
Yeah.
What happened to him? Do you remember?
Oh, man. Yesterday when he jumped off the cart to get ready, he got a big, huge, ginormous thorn in his foot.
Oh, that had to hurt so bad.
Yeah.
And they had called somebody that they called a witch doctor who, he was kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And he had tried to help, but it really wasn't helping.
No.
And even though Ringu had won the race, he still was having a lot of pain from his foot. So that's where we're going to find ourselves in our story today.
He did have something else cool happen, remember?
What was that?
He met a missionary.
Oh, that's right. The guy who looked very different from him.
Yes, his skin color was different. The way he dressed was different. And he talked about something very, very different.
Now, even though people look different or dress different, does that make them bad?
Not at all.
No,
not at all.
Right?
God made people in so many different shades of skin.
Right.
And they're all beautiful.
Well, it's so cool, especially for us right now, being in the jungle, to be able to see all the different kinds of things that God made. Different birds and animals, and to hear a whole bunch of different noises. Just listen and see if you hear something different. Weird. Wow. Oh.
This surely doesn't sound like home to me.
Me neither. Man. Well, we're going to talk today about the fact that even in hard times, and even sometimes when we're afraid, God can do amazing things.
All the time.
And he always does. All right? So, Ringu was very, very sick. He had won the race, and he was so excited about that, but his foot hurt so bad. If you remember yesterday, we talked about the fact that something had happened, something called an infection, which is like when the inside of a cut gets sick or your body can get sick. And Ringu was very, very sick. He was laying on his mat, and he thought, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. My foot hurts so bad.
Poor Ringu.
What am I going to do? As he was laying there, he thought, I wonder I wonder if the one true God, the one that Grub Sahib, the missionary, talked about, I wonder if he could make me better. Well, Ringu was laying on his mat and he heard someone coming down the road. It sounded like a large group of people. He looked out to see what was going on, and coming down the road was Padu. Padu, the guy that he had heard playing the strange music box at the bazaar where he was at the market. He saw him coming, and behind him, Mr. Grubbs Sahib, the missionary. He was so excited. He thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to get to hear what's going on, what this story means, what this paper that they gave me at the market, I want to know what it's all about. Yeah. The man came up, and as he came up to the boy Ringu, he went through the process of talking to him, and then his papa came out, and his papa said, I was wondering, what are you doing in our village? Mr. Grubb Sahib said, oh, you don't have to be afraid, sir. We just would like permission to come and maybe tell some stories and tell you about a God who loves you very much.
Oh, wow.
About the one true God. Oh, Ringu was so excited. He couldn't hardly wait. Papa looked at the missionary and thought, I don't know if I can trust this guy. But let's see. My son is very sick. Do you think that maybe you could help him? Because it appears that our witch doctor, he has no real power.
No power.
Could you help him? Mr. Grubb Sahib walked up on the porch, sat down next to Ringu, and began to look at his foot. He said, oh, his foot has an infection in it, but I have some medicine that can help him.
That'd be great.
I need you to go get me a bowl of warm water, and we'll make the medicine. So Ringu's mama ran out to the back and got a bowl of water that had been boiling on the fire, and she let it cool down a little bit, and missionary Grubb Sahib began to mix a special white powder that was medicine in with the water. He said, Ringu, sit up, son. And as he sat up on the edge of the bed, he said, what I want you to do is take your foot and put it in the water.
In the water?
Now, Ringu was very afraid because his people believed that you should never go into the water because there might be something bad in there. They were scared of it.
Oh, they were scared of the water.
And Ringu said, I can't do that. I don't want to put my foot in the water. What if there's something in there? And he said, no, trust me, it's okay. If you'll put your foot in the water, it will help draw some of the poison out of your foot. Oh, Ringu was so nervous. But then he did what the missionary said. He put his foot in the water and it began to soak. While it was soaking, the missionary said, I'm going to do something else now for you that you may never have done. Ringu thought, maybe he's going to tell me about the words on my paper, the paper that I've hidden in my hat. But the missionary said something very strange. He said, Ringu, I want to pray and ask the one true God to help heal your foot. Ringu had never known that you could talk to the one true God. He didn't know that you could tell him about the things that were bothering you. Missionary Grubb Sahib got down on one knee and bowed his head. And he said, now Ringu, close your eyes and bow your head too. And he began to pray. He prayed and said, dear God, the one true God who created all of heaven and earth, the God who created Ringu and his family, would you please help heal his foot? Would you make it so that the medicine works and he feels better very quickly? In Jesus, the Son of God's name, amen.
Wow.
Ringu had never heard anything like that. He'd never heard that you could ask for things and that you could trust that there was a God who loved you. He lived in a time and in a place where they believed every God was against them and they had to try and make them happy and do things and keep them so that they weren't upset. He didn't know that there was a God who could love them.
Hey, Pastor.
Yeah.
Is there a God that loves me?
There is a God who loves you.
And what about all the kids that are watching?
There's a God that loves each and every one of us. In fact, this week is a week that we're going to talk even more about how much God loved us because he sent his son Jesus to die on the cross for my sins. To think, be mad or do those kind of things. There is a God who loves us very much. He is the one true God.
The one true God.
And he offers to let us be part of his forever family. Well, Ringu had heard this, but he was very confused. The missionary said amen, and he said, I'm going to leave with you some medicine. And as I leave this medicine, I want you to every day take some warm water and soak your foot.
Oh, to do it again?
To do it again and again for the next 3 days.
Okay.
Well, Ringu was so excited because all of a sudden he started to feel better. Yes. He started to feel like maybe his foot was getting better and his head didn't hurt so bad. Wow. And he didn't feel so cold and hot at the same time. And Ringu went to bed. As he went to bed and he laid down that night, Ringu's father said, we can't soak his foot anymore. We don't have the special magic like the missionary does. Papa didn't understand that it wasn't magic in the missionary. It was the medicine and God helping Ringu feel better. Ringu was so afraid that they wouldn't let him soak his foot again. And all through the night, things didn't get much better. Ringu tried to sleep, but he just couldn't. The pain was too much, and he tossed and he turned all night. And his foot hurt. If he could just soak it again, he knew that he would feel better. But Papa had said no. Early the next morning, Ringu heard his mother out working at the fire, getting ready to make their breakfast. And he said, Mama, will you come in here, please? His mama came in and put her hand on his head and felt that he had a little bit of a fever again. And she said, what is it, my son? And he said, Mama, if I don't use the medicine from Mr. Grub Sahib, I might die. Mama, I'm so scared. Mama said, don't say that, my son. I will talk to your father. She went out and she talked to Papa, and Mama came back in carrying a bowl of water and said, I've talked to your father. We're going to soak your foot again.
Oh, good.
For the next 3 days, twice a day, Ringu had medicine put on his foot. It was crazy to him, but he started to feel so much better.
That is great.
His foot stopped being so red, and finally, at the end of the 3rd day, he was able to walk and not hurt.
All right.
When he got up that morning, he was so excited because his papa had told him the night before that he had a very special job for him he was going to tell him about. When Ringu got up and they were sitting at breakfast, Ringu said, Papa, will you tell me what the special job is? And his father said, well, you have proven that you are old enough to drive the bullock team.
Right.
You have proven that you could win the race.
Yes.
And our crops are coming up now. And I need someone to help me guard the crops from the jackals and the hyenas so that they don't come in and dig up all of the crops and take away the food that we need. Ringu couldn't believe it. This was a very, very special job. He was so excited. It was kind of scary, though, but he was so excited that maybe he would get to help his papa and be one that would protect their family's crops. Well, Papa said, you can go to school today, and after you get done with school, we'll talk more about it. Now, Ringu's school looked very different than your school or my school. In fact, their school was a house that had been made out of weaving things together. They would put different types of wood and bamboo together, and then they put grass on the roof to make the top.
A grass roof?
A grass roof. Isn't that crazy?
Whoa.
Well, Ringu went to school, and he was so excited because he was hoping to learn the letters to be able to read the paper that Grub Sahib had given him about the one true God. While he was there, though, the teacher only wanted to do math. Does anybody not like math? But They had to learn their numbers, and so they were working on it. The teacher had a chalkboard at the very front of his room, a very small one, and he would write the letters down, and then each one of the boys would take a small piece of rock and a piece of coal, and they would trace the numbers on that rock. And that's how they did their homework.
No paper?
No paper. They didn't have paper.
Oh, wow.
And so they were working on their numbers, and the teacher said, let's practice our counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Ringu thought, I don't want to count. I want to read. Well, the teacher said, copy these down on your rocks or on your slate 4 times, and then we will get into the reading time.
Okay.
Ringu was so excited. He couldn't hardly wait. While they were practicing their numbers, the teacher began to walk up and down between the row of the boys sitting on the ground. While they were doing that, the teacher saw a paper sticking out of Ringu's turban, out of his hat. He reached down and he grabbed the paper and he took it and just began to walk away. Oh, Ringu was very, very scared because he knew that the paper had words about the one true God on it.
Yeah.
He didn't know what he should do. And he watched as the teacher walked up to the front of the classroom. Ringu sat there. He was very, very afraid. Very afraid. And then all of a sudden, the teacher said, Ringu, come up front right now. Oh, have you ever had that time where maybe you're going to get in trouble because you did something and you know that it's coming, and all of a sudden you get that kind of ucky feeling in your stomach?
Yeah, you don't feel so good.
Yeah, I bet Ringu felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
Ringu got up and walked to the front of the room, and the teacher said, you took this paper from the missionary. Why would you do that? Ringu said, I just want to know what it says. I can't read. I want to learn to read. The teacher said, these have the words about the missionary's God. You should never, ever take these again.
Oh.
And he crumpled up the paper and he threw it in the corner.
Oh, no.
Ringu saw it, and his heart was so sad.
Yeah.
Mr. Grub Sahib had been nothing but good to him. He had shared with him his medicine and made his foot better. He had prayed and asked the one true God to help him to feel better. And Ringu wanted to know more. But now his paper was gone. The teacher looked at him and said, promise me that you will never, ever take another paper from the missionary. Well, Ringu said, I'll do my best. And he did something very strange. In Ringu's town, they did their promises different. Sometimes we say, I pinky promise. Sometimes we say, I cross my heart. But in Ringu, they would cross their arms and pull on their earlobes. And that was like they're saying, okay, I won't do it again.
Oh, okay.
But Ringu really wanted to know what was on the paper. He was really, really, really sad because he wanted to know more about the one true God. Well, school ended, and they didn't even get to learn more letters that day. Ringu waited until everyone else had left. He watched, and he waited for the teacher to leave too. Pretty soon his little brother Batu came up and said, Ringu, come on, we have to get home. We're going to help Papa. Remember, he has a special job for us. Ringu said, I'll go soon. Just give me a minute. He waited, and he waited. And when no one else was around, Ringu went over to the corner and picked up the paper with the words from the missionary, Grub Sahib. And he straightened and flattened them out. And then he put them back under his hat.
That's great.
He was so excited that he could get that paper. But he was also scared. Because what if somebody knew that he took it? He just wanted to know more about the one true God. He wanted to hear more and see more. Well, on his way home, he and Batu talked all about the fact that this night, Ringu would be going out to help his father protect the crops from the hyenas and the jackals and to keep them away from tearing up the food that their family would use to sell and to eat. Ringu couldn't help but think about anything but the paper.
Paper.
He just wanted to know more about the one true God. He just wanted to be able to read and study and know what God said. Well, on their way back to town, into their village, Ringu heard something that he had heard before. It sounded kind of like when the water would run in the river and the birds would sing. And he heard it and he knew what it was. It was Padu. He was playing the box again in Ringu's village.
Oh,
He
wow.
was so excited. He and Batu began to run and run and run and run. They got all the way to the middle of town, and he said, "Oh, look, Batu, I see Mr. Grub Sahib. He's here, and he has a large box. What's he going to do?" Mr. Grub Sahib said, "Oh, Ringu, I see that your foot is feeling better. I'm so glad to hear that. Now, I hope that tonight you can come and hear the message about the one true God. I'm going to be sharing it with everyone in the village." Ringu was so excited.
I think so.
But he had to help Papa.
Oh,
How could he do
right.
both? Ringu had an important decision to make. And we're going to find out what he did tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. So do you think Ringu's going to help protect the crops? Or do you think he's going to maybe listen to the stories of the one true God?
Boy,
Or
I don't know.
is there a way he could maybe do both?
I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait until tomorrow on Wednesday.
Now, do any of you have to go out tonight and guard your crops from jackals or hyenas?
I don't.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm glad for that.
Me too.
That would probably be scary, especially in the dark. That could be
Ooh,
really hard.
Yeah, because there's no like street lights.
Right.
And stuff like that.
Right.
So,
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't think I would like that.
I don't think I would either.
Oh,
All right.
man.
So we have our prize basket. We're going to draw for the prize on Friday after our last time together. And there are two ways you can get in the prize basket. We had two kids that got in twice because they did both things. The first way is what, Miss Jen?
First way is to make sure that you put your name in the comments and your answer to the questions that we're going to ask in just a minute. And then we have a second way that we'll talk about after the questions.
All right.
So 2 ways to get in. And let's start with the first. So the first, we have some questions for
Right.
you guys, okay?
Right.
Question number 1. How did Ringu feel when the missionary asked him to put his foot into the hot water?
Ooh, I remember that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. Oof. Ooh, okay.
hmm.
I don't want to tell you the
Okay,
answers.
yeah, don't give it away. Okay, so that's question number 1. All right, so put your name and your answer in the comments below, and we'll get you counted, okay?
Okay.
All right, question number 2. What did the missionary do for Ringu after Ringu had put his foot in the water? Remember, Ringu thought it was really strange.
Yeah, very weird.
Yeah,
Very weird. He'd
very weird.
Never had that happen before.
Never.
Yeah.
So what did Ringu, or what did the missionary do for Ringu? Okay?
Okay.
All right, and question number 3. What did the teacher at Ringu's school do with the paper that he found in Ringu's hat?
Oh,
Do you remember that?
I do remember that part.
Yeah, I was nervous during that part.
Me too.
My stomach felt kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't like that Ringu was going to get in trouble.
Yeah,
I didn't
that
like
was-
that part at all. Yeah.
All right, so that's the 3 questions.
All right.
Now,
Okay. So yesterday we said if you were going in the jungle, what kind of hat would you want to wear? So, okay? And we told you that if you put that picture in the comments, that you would get another chance to go in the prize drawing, which we had 2 that did.
so they got their names in 2 times?
2 times. Yes, 2 times.
Wow.
So today we're going to see what kind of shoes would you... What kind of shoes would you want to wear in the jungle? If you were going in the jungle, remember Ringu stepped on that really, really sharp thorn?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to go barefoot in the
Nope.
jungle. We're not barefoot in the jungle.
Nope.
No, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
So what kind of shoes would you want to wear? Take a picture of you wearing those shoes.
Whatever you can
Whatever
find.
you can find. Maybe it's a pair of your dad's boots that you'd want to wear. Maybe it's your favorite pair of tennis shoes. But what kind of shoes would you want to wear? And even if you're not 12 and under, you can still participate. You can take a picture if you want. You won't get your name in the basket, but if you're 12 and under, you will get your name in the basket. All right?
Okay.
So you tell us what kind of shoes you would want to wear in the jungle. For me, these would be my jungle shoes.
So take a picture of yourself with whatever shoes you want to wear in the jungle and post it in the comments below with today's story.
Yep. And so that's the 2 ways that you can get into the prize drawing, okay?
I love prizes.
She does.
I do.
She does.
Hey, did you hear that?
What is that?
Something here in the jungle.
Wow. All right. Will you guys join us tomorrow? And we will tell you more about what Ringu's going to do. Is he going to guard the crops? Are there going to be jackals and hyenas? Is Ringu going to be safe?
Or is he going to be able to hear the stories about the one true God? Come back tomorrow and find out.
I guess we'll see. We'll see you then.
Bye,
All
guys.
Right, bye.